So we're going to look at a very powerful closed guard opening. I learned from my professor. It's named after my professor's professor, Gordo. We call it Gordo's opening. What I really like about this opening is the mechanical strength involved in this. It helps us establish really good habits as far as posture and our body alignment in terms of standing up, and then the ability to generate our power using our hips and our legs anytime we're grappling, especially in the very beginning. If we can start to really internalize and understand how we use our body, specifically our hips and our legs, to do the heavy work of jiu-jitsu, it makes everything else so much easier, especially when we talk about passing the closed guard. Some of the attributes of the closed guard, remember, that makes it so effective for the person on bottom is the fact that their strongest parts of their body, their own hips, their own legs, are wrapped over the top of mine. So it is severely limiting a lot of my power because I'm sitting on my legs, forcing them to be coiled up. So I am interested here in creating space to put a lot more tension on this guard. One of the first things I'm looking for at doing is collecting these lapels, right? And notice how when I'm collecting them, I'm making sure I'm taking all this slack out. Right? I want to be making sure that I'm putting my partner almost in this little crunch position. So you see how, like a ratchet strap, I'm taking slack out. One hand is holding that slack as I get a deeper grip and pull again. Always want to make sure I take all that slack out. There is no loose gi back here on the neck. I'm forcing Ian into this crunch position. My top hand is located just below that sternum. I want to be below the breastbone, so I'm putting just a little bit of pressure on the solar plexus. All right, this just adds just a hair more uncomfortableness, but it's just a little extra detail that you can kind of have to somebody, especially if he's trying to sit up into me. Right, he's sitting up into that frame, which puts pressure into that solar plexus. Like I said, just adds a little bit more uncomfortable to it. So I have the slack out. My top hand is right below that breastbone. Elbows are in. Now, I'm going to be elevating my hips. As I elevate my hips, my goal is the leg on the same side as that top arm is going to step up. When I step that leg up, I'm making sure that I am bringing it all the way nice and tight to my partner. So my toes right now are parallel with Ian, right? As I turn this way, you'll notice when I step up, I don't want my leg out. There's no pressure on this hip right here. It's very easy for Ian to underhook that leg and change his angle. So making sure that I take the slack out, I pick up my hips, and when I step, I'm slamming that leg nice and tight. My toes are parallel, and my knee and elbow are pinched right here. So what I've done now is I'm locking this leg into my hips. So I need that good tight control. When I have that position right here and everything's nice and tight, my hand can come up to the knee. So remember, once again, I'm not just pushing with my arm, right? Because that guard's going to be closed nice and tight. So I'm not strong enough here to push. I need to be using a rotation. So I get my toes out and watch how I turn 90 degrees. As I'm turning, right, I'm bringing my knee up. I'm opening that knee up and pushing down on that leg. What that's going to allow me to do is now staple the leg right here with my own arm. I want to be sliding my knee back to create some space. So as I slide that knee back, I'm looking for the space of the elbow pit to pummel. So sliding my knee back. Look, my feet aren't moving. I'm just moving my hips forward and back. My legs got to be like springs. So I move them back so I can pummel and I can move it back in here, making sure I'm going to that plank position. My thumb is in. My goal here with this over-under pass is to make sure that I'm pinning this bottom leg. I get my hips on top here to make sure that Ian cannot move that bottom leg at all. Can you shrimp at all? Nope. Right? If I don't have that leg pinned, watch how he can shrimp and start moving, right? Moving this way to replace his guard. So pinning that leg, especially if I can grab the pants and hide it behind his knee, I'm in a good position right here, right? Pulling myself to get his knee to his chest. Now just walking chest forward, and my head is up to help me pass that leg across, finishing in that side control position. So looking at it from this angle, a lot of the early little mini fights are going on. That small battle of my posture, keeping my base, working myself in here. While we're doing that, I'm collecting this gi, right? Nice strong grips like a baseball bat, connecting my pinky to my thumb, right? Fist is right at that solar plexus. Pick up your hips, slam the leg nice and tight. You should feel a ton of pressure between your knee and your elbow, hand to the knee. Toes so I can pivot here, right? As soon as I pivot, I'm heavy, sliding back so I can start shelving that leg, right? I don't want to just be low here on my elbow. I'm not very strong here. He starts to bring his heels down to the ground. I can't shelf it up. I slide back, get it all the way up on your shoulder. See how the hamstring and the knee is up on my shoulder. Once it's there, now I can drive forward into that plank position. Thumb in to lock myself in. Walk around the leg, chest forward, and our head is up to pass. So just to see that motion, right, without a partner, I want you guys to see how I'm making that angle change. If I'm starting directly in front of you, getting my grips. Let's pick up those hips. This is my leg that's gonna slam nice and tight. My goal here is to keep that connected. So as I bring my toes out, my hand is on their knee. Watch how I pivot. I'm turning 90 to open that up. So it's a rotation of my rear knee that helps me get to the sky. And that's the mechanical function that helps us open that guard. So if you see it from the side, good base, arms out, lifting those hips, slam the leg. Notice how my foot is parallel to this line right here. So now as my toes come out, I'm gonna pivot that 90 degrees to help me open that guard.